There is something very fishy going on with Rey Fenix in AEW right now. In short, Rey Fenix is basically trapped in AEW right now as reportedly he wants to leave AEW, but AEW are not letting him. Rey Fenix was rumored to be on his way to WWE, but AEW are not letting him leave AEW and keeping him away from WWE. And Rey Fenix is clearly not happy about this and has came out on social media kind of exposing AEW. This entire situation is crazy and there's a lot more to it, so let's talk about all of it and more. Like the video and let's begin. So how did we get to this point? Well, Rey Fenix has been wrestling for a long time, having made his debut in wrestling all the way back in 2005, and he is the brother of wrestler Pentagon Jr., who has gone under many names, most recently going under Penta El Zero Miedo. Together they're known as the Lucha Brothers, and they were teamed together across various promotions, namely AAA, Lucha Underground, TNA, CMLL, and every indie promotion under the sun, having great success and winning titles in nearly every company whose doors they walked through. In 2018, they were part of the original All In show, and then a few months later, at the start of 2019, when All Elite Wrestling was formed, they were signed to the company as OG members of the AEW roster. The Lucha Bros spent much of their first year in AEW feuding with the Young Bucks as they exchanged wins in a great series of matches. It was also the Young Bucks who 2 years later they would beat at All Out 2021 to win the AEW tag titles for the first and only time. And along the way, they also picked up and were joined by Puck to form the Death Triangle trio, and the Lucha Bros tag title reign lasted until the start of 2022 when they lost them to the Jurassic Express in a match where Fenix dislocated his elbow pretty graphically. And when he returned from injury, himself and Death Triangle were looked to capture the newly introduced trio's titles, but lost in the first round of a tournament for them. The tournament and titles were won by the Elite, who the same night were involved in some incidents that led to them getting suspended and being stripped of the titles. And Death Triangle would go on to capture those vacant belts, winning them in September of 2022. Following the Elite's return, they'd feud with Death Triangle in a best of 7 series over the belts, with the Elite coming out on top at the start of 2023. And Fenix would see more gold in 2023 as the Lucha Bros won the Ring of Honor tag titles, and Fenix would also win the international title. Though this was not meant to happen and was not the original plan for this match, as champion Jon Moxley got injured during the course of the match with a concussion, and so they were forced to change the finish on the fly, and Rey Fenix picked up the victory and won the international title in what was essentially now an accidental title reign. And Fenix's international accidental title reign only lasted 2 weeks as he lost it to Orange Cassidy. And since this, Rey Fenix and Penta's usage on TV has been inconsistent, and they haven't really done anything meaningful or of note or been part of any big programs since this. Which takes us over to 2024, where earlier this year rumors began arising that the Lucha Brothers were set to be on their way out of AEW and on their way to WWE. However, it was then reported soon after that whilst Penta's contract was coming up, Rey Fenix wasn't going anywhere, as Rey Fenix had just had injury time added onto his contract by AEW, which was later reported to be an extra year, essentially trapping him in the company until the end of 2025. And these reports were proven correct when this past week Penta was removed from the AEW roster page, as it was reported he was now a free agent, whereas Rey Fenix's profile still remains up. Rey Fenix is essentially trapped in AEW until the end of 2025, and Rey Fenix is seemingly not very happy with how he is not allowed to leave, and has tweeted and now deleted various posts on Twitter, as he first tweeted out saying, "No one stays in a place where they received inhumane treatment," and then 2 days later tweeted, "I needed a doctor and you ignored me for months." And the same day as that tweet, a report came out that was tweeted out on Twitter which described the Rey Fenix situation as a huge injustice, and saying that there's a real story behind the situation, which Rey Fenix would respond to by describing it as, "So far the most accurate comment." However, if you heard what I said earlier, Rey Fenix has since deleted all these tweets, so yeah, something very fishy is going on here. Maybe the most worrying tweet is the one about him being ignored when needing a doctor, which many pointed to CM Punk's interview with Ariel Helwani, where he said something similar and how he experienced something similar about how AEW didn't contact him at all when he was injured and he had to book his own surgery. This was a bad look for AEW, and if it's a similar case for Fenix, then it's an even worse look. Regardless, I think any sane wrestling fan can agree that if Rey Fenix wants to depart AEW, then he should be allowed to do so and shouldn't be held hostage in the company and forced to stay. Especially if AEW aren't going to use him and they're just going to pay him just to sit at home and just be put on the shelf. What good does that do anyone? There is no positive to that. AEW have shown numerous times that they mostly refuse to release anyone who requests it. It's happened a few times and they need to stop doing it. Everyone used to look down on WWE when they used to do it, and AEW was meant to be the alternative to that, so fix up. It seemingly happened earlier this year with Miro, who reportedly requested his release, but is still listed on the AEW roster. I also seem to remember it happening with Malachi Black, and cases of wrestlers sitting at home for AEW who's not using them and refusing to use them can also be seen with Ricky Starks, so it's nothing new with this entire Rey Fenix situation we've got going on here. As I said though, Penta is a free agent and I highly suspect he's going to be debuting for the WWE very soon. Penta is a star who can go to WWE and be debuted without Rey Fenix. They can just get him, and I could really see WWE throwing him into NXT, and I think that could be a good idea for him to be used that way. Penta would very much stand out in NXT just from his look alone and his style. It would be different to anything on the NXT roster. It would bolster the NXT World Title division, which is really needed, and it can be something for him to do as a solo act and an introduction to the WWE style before he goes to the main roster, maybe alongside Rey Fenix once he's available and they're both signed to the company. Regardless of how WWE do it, I can be pretty confident and firmly say that I think Penta will end up in WWE in some way, even if they do wait until Rey Fenix is out to sign them both together. And hey, I'd also be willing to bet that if Penta does go to WWE first, he will be very over in WWE, especially once again if he goes to NXT. They'll just love him because, like I said, he'll just really stand out there. But with Rey Fenix, it just continues to be a waiting game. As it stands, he'll be out of the company in about a year's time, unless AEW does what they should do and does the right thing and does what everyone is screaming at them to do, which is just let Rey Fenix go. Based on what Fenix has said on social media, I imagine he's going to have a lot to say about his AEW run when he's out the company, and maybe that's a reason why AEW are hesitant to let him go. Regardless of all the controversy and the incidents and everything in this entire situation, I think the fact that AEW are about to lose the Lucha Bros is really bad for AEW. This was an OG team in AEW who throughout their entire run weren't really booked very consistently, and sure, they had title reigns and time periods of where they were being pushed, but that push was never consistent, and there were times in AEW where they were just doing pretty much nothing. The Lucha Bros were a team that should have been at the very top of the AEW tag division for the entire time they were there, not just for certain moments in time. And hey, I'll go there, maybe if they pushed them a little better and AEW were more consistent in their usage of them, then maybe they would have stayed, or at least had a better chance of keeping them and retaining them. It looks as though they'll be on their way to WWE at some point in time, and when they do go, I'm sure they're gonna be stars there. However, as of right now, Rey Fenix is trapped in AEW. Anyway guys, that's it from me. Let me know what you thought of this video in the link below, in the comments below, and do check out the link below in the description for the awards show, the Top 10 Wrestling Awards. Make sure to get your votes in that. We're going to be doing a big awards video, all voted for by you guys later on this month, recapping 2024 and the year that was in wrestling. And like this video if you enjoyed this video and want to see more wrestling content. Comment down below what you think of this entire Rey Fenix and AEW situation, and what videos you want to see from me next, and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video for this month. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye and keep on rolling.